appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. Don't forget, earlier this week, I dropped my advanced review of the new vampire masterpiece, Sinners, from Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. Go and check that out. But tonight, what are we talking about here? Folks, it's been a long wait, and it feels like it gets longer and longer between each subsequent season, but it's finally back, and we are here to discuss the first episode of the new season. Tonight in reviews, we are talking Black Mirror. Let's not waste any time though and jump right on into things. We were talking the first episode of the new season, Common People. If you haven't seen the trailer for this one before, this tells the story of Mike and Amanda, a married young couple who have been trying to conceive when Amanda suddenly falls into a coma due to an inoperable brain tumor. Faced with limited options, Mike accepts a proposal that has the company Rivermind fix Amanda's tumor by embedding her with their software and hardware. Unfortunately for them, they didn't read the fine print. And there it is, folks. That is the first episode of the new season of Black Mirror, Common People. Now, Common People stars Chris O'Dowd, who you might know from Bridesmaids, Thor: The Dark World, or the recent Get Shorty TV series. It also stars Rashida Jones, who you definitely know from The Office, Parks and Rec, or even the movie Tag. And actually, she wrote a previous episode here in Black Mirror, Season 3's Nosedive. That was the one that starred Bryce Dallas Howard, the one that was all about social media and getting more likes for everything that you were doing. And there is absolutely the same kind of tie that's in that episode that's over here with Common People. Rashida Jones did not write this episode at all, but watching it, it's actually hard to not think of that Nosedive episode because Common People focuses very much on subscription model services that have sprung up in the last 10 to 12 years and have basically taken over the majority of things that we have out in our everyday life. Whether it's your Netflix, your Hulu, your Paramount Plus, your Prime Video, whatever it is, there are a staggering amount of these services out there to where you pay on a monthly basis to have access to various movies and TV shows that consistently are switching out on a very normal basis. And we know that with a lot of these services, in their early days, in the heyday of streaming, when it was first this big thing, the library was fantastic. You had all these great benefits with it. There was all these extra things that you could do. The sky was truly the limit. And I'm not sure if anybody else has those fond memories of like the Netflix watch parties, for example, that were on the Xbox 360 back in the day, to where it synced up what y'all were watching. Your avatars be right there. Y'all be watching the same thing while in the middle of the Xbox chat or whatever. Again, Amanda ends up getting this brain tumor. And Mike, thinking both selfishly, but also thinking a bit for Amanda here too, decides to give this company Rivermind access to Amanda's brain. And the whole idea is that the tissue that has been like depleted, that has been taken out by this tumor that's in her head, would now be filled up with this company Rivermind software and hardware that'll replace that tissue with like synthetic. It's all AI, which is something else, obviously, we're dealing with a lot in today's world as well, too. And at the beginning, everything seems great. Amanda is still alive. Her and Mike have the ability to continue on with their relationship. And the only side effects from it is that there's a guaranteed sleep pattern. And there starts to be a point to where Amanda can't go too far away from her home. There starts being limitations for where this service can be accessed. And as time keeps going by, more limitations end up getting introduced here to this service that Mike and Amanda are subscribed to. And of course, that's when the plans change up. There's new tiers introduced, new benefits introduced, and it all sounds amazing. But if you were there at the jump, if you were there at the incumbency of it all, at the beginning, at the start, it seems like you're getting taken for a ride. And we see the desperation begin to grow in Mike and Amanda as Mike is working overtime as much as humanly possible in order to pay for this service that's keeping Amanda alive, keeping this marriage that they have alive too. And Amanda's trying to do the same. But again, the side effects are growing and creeping more in. Like, for example, Amanda starts to be affected by ads that just come through at any time, and she's the person that has to deliver ads just like we would on our cell phones with any app or any service that we start to utilize. Hell, even Prime Video at this point there, now you have to pay to get that, like get the tier that's ad free. So we're talking about stuff that a lot of us are using in our everyday lives. And that's the real terror of it, because that's what Black Mirror does so good at, is focusing on our attachment to technology and how that's used. Now, ultimately, our commitment to that and a lot of these newer things that end up getting made are ultimately what ends up destroying us and taking us away from who we ultimately are as well too. And we see that as both Mike and Amanda start become shells of who they are at the beginning of this episode. You know, the happy, the joyous, the upbeat nature that we get to see at the beginning is stripped away more and more and more towards the end of it. And you start to see that Mike, while he's doing everything to hold on and to keep Amanda here, is also reaching his limitation. And he doesn't want to be the one that just says, no, like we're just going to stop this and you're going to be gone, because he doesn't want to lose this. But it gets to a point where you really truly have to accept that there is a time to where you have to let things go, no matter what or who it ultimately is. And again, the same thing could be said for a lot of these services that we have. You know, we're at a point now where a number of these services that we're on are basically adding up to your normal cable bill or TV bill for satellite, whatever you have. And it's one of those things where you have to really start thinking about, with all the options that we have today, and there are a lot of free options that you can go with. Are you staying with this just out of loyalty, staying out of a sense of responsibility, staying with it out because you're lazy? Like, there could be a number of reasons that you're not cutting the cord on these services that you ultimately don't need after so long. And I know that's harsh because we're talking about a service versus like a human being, but that's still like the strong message being conveyed here, is that we have to know when to let go, because some of these things that are meant to enrich our life, they're only meant to be there for a short period of time. And once that time is done, you have to acknowledge that and be willing to truly separate yourself from it, lest you continue to wallow in misery and pain and more hurt. And while that message is clear, I do wish that this being the first episode of this new season could have been a little bit more consistent in tone, just because I feel that the first quarter, it's like it's an hour-long episode, and like the times of each of these episodes has always varied, but it feels like the first third of the episode, maybe a little bit more, is very different tonally compared to the rest of it, because it's very happy, it's very upbeat, it's very funny, it's very comedic, honestly. Like, there's a lot of good in like that first third, but then the other two-thirds of the episode are very much on a downward spiral. And I'm not saying that's bad, it's not in the least bit, but it does seem vastly uneven at that point. And Black Mirror always seems to have like it go from one end of the spectrum to the other, but when it rides that line, it doesn't do so well, in my opinion. And I think this is an episode to where it likely would have made a bit more sense to commit to the darker path that we were going a little bit earlier, just because we are given a slight indication of Amanda's tumor coming and what ultimately puts them in this situation in the first place. Maybe the first 10 to 15 minutes of this episode could have been devoted to showing Amanda and Mike and Amanda still having this marriage that they have. Everything's still the same, but more talk, more information in regards to what she's already dealing with. Because I don't think adding it in as a surprise between the two of them changes the feeling, it changes the impact of what the episode's trying to say here at all. So I'm curious, y'all, do you sense the similarities here that I'm talking about between this episode and the Bryce Dallas Howard episode Nosedive? What did you think in regards to the tone of this one? Do you think I'm off base here by saying they should have committed to the dark path that was laying out a little bit earlier? Let me know that in the comment section, and of course get subscribed, because I'm going to be following this entire season. We don't know how long it's going to be until we get another season after this here, so stay with me as we keep going through each episode that we have. The best way to do that is to get subscribed to my link tree at linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get subscribed, that's going to be access to the YouTube page for the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms, the audio only versions of the show, to my Letterboxd page for written reviews and movie rankings throughout the year, to my TikTok page for full episodes, movie news, and movie premieres, to my Twitch page for horror gaming, and to my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. Take advantage of that, y'all. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I got plenty of great horror content coming out for you. Like I said earlier this week, I dropped my review for Sinners. We're going to be talking Borderline here soon. We're jumping into the Final Destination movies, including Final Destination Bloodlines. We got a lot of stuff coming here that I do not want you to miss. So hit that subscribe button before you take off here. But that's it tonight, y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.